Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News, broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Iran pledges to strike Israel with a looming attack that may put both countries on a course of direct collision. Jerusalem emphasizes its unwavering determination to achieve all of its goals vis-à-vis Hamas in the Gaza Strip. The United States, France, Britain, and Germany, among others, voice ironclad support for Israel versus Iran, while China and Russia call for restraint. Israel will not relent as Jerusalem set a date for the IDF's planned offensive into the southern Gaza Strip border town of Rafah. Israel's top political brass have reiterated in recent days that the withdrawal of the 98th Division from Han Yunis, leaving the 162nd Division, including the Givati Brigade, to operate in a number of strategic and tactical locations in the northern part of the enclave, did not spell an end to the war on the Islamist Hamas and its terror affiliates.
אנחנו נשלים את החיסול של גדודי החמאס, כולל ברפיח. אין שום כוח בעולם שיעצור אותנו. יש הרבה כוחות שמנסים לעשות זאת, אבל זה לא יעזור, משום שהאויב הזה, אחרי מה שהוא עשה, לא יעשה את זה יותר. הוא גם לא יהיה. ואנחנו מחויבים לעשות את זה, וכל אחד ואחת מכם עכשיו, בגיוס שלכם, תתרמו בדרך זו, בדרך אחרת, להשלמת היעד הזה. זה חייב להיות. אחרי שעושים דבר כזה, למדינה שלנו לא יעשו יותר.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu went on to re-highlight Jerusalem's war goals, citing four distinct objectives.
יש לנו 3 מטרות. 1, להחזיר את החטופים והחטופות, חלק מהתצפיתניות, לא חלק, כל התצפיתניות, אבל לא רק הן, ולא רק הם, כולם ביחד, אנחנו נחזיר את כולם. יעד שני זה לחסל את החמאס. יעד שלישי זה להבטיח שעזה לא תהווה עוד איום על ישראל. ויש יעד רביעי, מה שיש בחמאס זה חלק ציר הרשע של איראן שמכוון להשמיד אותנו. וכשאנחנו מנצחים את החמאס, זה לא רק לנצח את החמאס, זה לנצח את הציר. וכולם במזרח התיכון, וגם מעבר לו, יושבים ביציע ומסתכלים מי ינצח במגרש הזה. מי ינצח? ישראל או איראן ושלוחותיה? מי ינצח? 100%. הנה, כבר אתם יודעים.
Alongside Jerusalem's uncompromising counteroffensive vis-à-vis Hamas in Gaza, it has adopted in parallel a couple of measures to further enhance the flow of humanitarian aid into the Palestinian enclave.
While Hamas continues to hold 133 hostages and use Gazans as human shields, Israel continues to facilitate the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza and find new ways to increase this effort. We are constructing the northern crossing, a new land crossing from Israel into northern Gaza, to enable more aid to flow directly to civilians in the areas that have been challenging for the trucks to access. These new measures enable us to bring more aid and trucks destined for Gaza from overseas, including the via land crossing with Jordan.
It is worth noting that on Wednesday, the IDF Coordinator of Government Activities in the Territories, or COGAT, inspected and transferred a staggering 741 trucks into the Gaza Strip. Nevertheless, out of the 741 trucks, the UN, alongside other international aid organizations, had distributed merely 267 trucks, of which only 146 carried food. Meanwhile, at the United Nations headquarters in New York, the Palestinian Authority is banking on the sinister political climate vis-à-vis Israel to try and persuade the UN Security Council to adopt a binding resolution that would pave the road to an unnegotiated recognition of a Palestinian state.
It was sent to the Security Council through the Secretary General of the UN. It was a historic moment then, and now that historic moment has been revived again, and we sincerely hope, after 12 years since we changed our status to an observer state, that the Security Council will elevate itself to implementing the global consensus on the two-state solution by admitting the State of Palestine for full membership.
In response to the Palestinian Authority's attempt to evade a negotiated solution, irrespective of the likelihood that a political process could facilitate any breakthrough in the current climate of war, Israel regards the Palestinian ploy as a blatant violation of the UN Charter.
To the Palestinians, the only solution is a solution where the Jewish state ceases to exist. This is not how you resolve a conflict. This is how you ensure more bloodshed, more violence, and many more October 7th. An agreement can be agreed upon only at the negotiating table, not by forcing it unilaterally here in New York. The UN has been sabotaging peace in the Middle East for years, but today marks the beginning of a point of no return.
Meanwhile, Jerusalem is bracing itself for an Iranian attack, following the brutal Iranian-facilitated onslaught on southern Israel by Hamas, the Iranian proxy Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and other terror groups on October 7th, alongside the addition of an Iranian-instigated, low-intensity war by Hezbollah from Lebanon against Israel since October 8th, and repeated attacks by Iranian proxies from Syria, Iraq, and Yemen, an Israeli strike on a building next to the Iranian consulate in Damascus on April 1st, claiming the lives of 7 Iranian RGC Quds Force officers, including Brigadier General Mohammad Reza Zahedi, who was in charge of the internationally designated terror group's activities in Lebanon and Syria. Iran has now pledged to launch a retaliatory strike against Israel proper, alongside a pledge to retaliate by the Islamic Republic Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Tehran's top diplomat asserted during a subsequent visit to Damascus that Israel would be punished, while also attributing responsibility to Washington as an accomplice of Jerusalem.
میخواهم از دمشق با صدای بلند اعلام بکنم آمریکا در این حادثه مسئولیت دارد و باید پاسخگو باشد. رژیم اسرائیل تنبیه خواهد شد.
Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps and military have raised their level of alert to the highest preparedness, while the IDF has also raised its own level of alert, while in tandem has received the necessary approvals to conduct retaliatory strikes against Iran proper.
אנחנו במלחמה רב-זירתית. אין סיבה לבהלה, אבל גם אין מקום לשאננות. עלינו להיות מודעים למצב ומוכנים תמיד. כוחות צה"ל ערוכים ופועלים בכל הזירות, בדרום, בצפון, ביהודה ושומרון ובזירות רחוקות יותר. צה"ל יודע להתמודד גם עם איראן, בהתקפה ובהגנה. נערכנו לכך, יש לנו מערכות הגנה טובות, אנחנו יודעים לפעול באופן עוצמתי מול איראן במקומות קרובים ורחוקים. אנחנו פועלים בשיתוף פעולה עם ארצות הברית ושותפות אסטרטגיות במרחב.
General Halevi went on to stress that while Israel stands ready to face Iran, the threat emanating from the Islamic Republic is not merely an Israeli problem.
מתחילת המלחמה, איראן מנסה להתנער ולהסתתר ממעורבות ישירה בה. אבל אנחנו יודעים כי היא מפעילה, מכוונת, מממנת, מעבירה ידע לכל שלוחותיה באזור, מחיזבאללה, דרך יהודה ושומרון ועד תימן. איראן לא מאיימת רק על ישראל, אלא על כל העולם המערבי והערבי. איראן היא בעיה עולמית, הייתה ונותרה, הבעיה הגדולה.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, for his part, during a visit to an F-15 wing at Tel Nof Air Base, emphasized Jerusalem's basic principle regarding its enemies.
אנחנו נערכים גם לתרחישים של אתגרים מזירות אחרות, ואנחנו קבענו עיקרון פשוט. מי שפוגע בנו, אנחנו פוגעים בו. אנחנו נערכים לענות על הצרכים הביטחוניים של מדינת ישראל, גם בהגנה וגם בהתקפה.
U.S. President Joe Biden, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, and French President Emmanuel Macron, among others, have all voiced ironclad support for Israel, while warning Iran against escalating regional tensions into an all-out war.
I don't have any calls to announce, but we have been engaged in a series of contacts, not just at his level, but at other levels too, to talk to foreign counterparts to send this very clear message to Iran that they should not escalate this conflict.
While the Biden administration informed Iran that it had no involvement in the deadly strike on Damascus, U.S. officials have signaled Iran that the United States will not shy away from standing shoulder to shoulder with Israel, while in tandem, the USS Eisenhower carrier strike group was repositioned closer to Israel's shores. Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. I would like to encourage you, pray for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. Moreover, if you're blessed by our productions, which are exclusively donation-based and as such broadcast free of charge, please consider making a donation. You can do so via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. I'm Jonathan Hessen, wishing you a Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach, and God willing, we'll see you during our upcoming updates. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.